Mash asks Finn if he can lend him a broom for tomorrow's class, since he brought a burdock, thinking it was a broom. Finn can't believe that Mash confused burdock for a broom, but agrees to lend him one. The next day, during class, the teacher explains that they will be learning how to ride on a broom today, and that they need to channel magic energy into the broom and command it with the word, fly. After that, they need to straddle it and regulate the magic to keep it afloat. The students one by one successfully command their broom to fly. However, Mash's broom isn't moving. One of the students mocks Mash and complains that he is slowing them. Mash then stomps the ground, causing the broom to jump to his hand and then commands it to fly. The student is surprised but states he cheated as the broom flew up before he commanded it. The teacher then explains that they will be testing out how fast they can fly, and hearing that, the student decides to challenge Mash to a race, and whoever loses will have to obey the winner while they are there. Mash and the student line up for a race. The student is confident in his broom riding as he has been doing it since middle school. The teacher recognizes Mash as the one that broke the lock yesterday and wonders if he can even ride a broom. As she gives a signal for a start, it takes Mash just a moment to already finish the race, leaving his opponent in shock, who didn't even have time to move. The teacher freaks out as this is a new world record. The rest of the students are also surprised, but they couldn't really see what happened. Finn, however, saw it clearly. When the teacher gave a start signal, Mash chucked his broom, then immediately jumped after it, and used air resistance to decrease his speed and land on the broom. The student can't accept that Mash beat him, and seeing that Mash feels kinda bad for him, so he decides to drop the bet. The student is angry. However, Lloyd Cavil uses his magic to silence him and apologizes for his friend's rudeness. The students see that Lloyd is talking to Mash and realize that Lloyd will be targeting Mash and make him his first victim. Lloyd introduces himself and asks Mash if he wants to be friends. Mash overhears his name as Spud Cabbage, which annoys Lloyd, but he manages to hide it. The teacher then reminds them they are in the middle of class, and Lloyd leaves Mash, but tells him to come here after school. Lloyd takes his friend behind school and beats him up, stating that he can't follow orders as he told him just to mess with him a bit. Mash is with Finn and wonders who is Lloyd. Finn explains that Lloyd is a student who is a continuing student from the middle school division. Mash wonders why is everyone afraid of him. Finn tells him that Lloyd is the son of a high-ranking member at the Bureau of Magic, and if someone stands against him, he gets expelled. After school, Mash makes some cream puffs, noting it's sometimes fun to make them yourself. While eating them, he feels he forgot something. Meanwhile, Lloyd gets ticked off as Mash didn't show up. The next day, while in a break between classes, Mash finds his textbook in a bad shape. Lloyd then approaches Mash and wonders why he didn't show up yesterday, and Mash apologizes, stating he was making cream puffs. Lloyd heard that Mash is aiming for the Divine Visionary and explains that he is good friends with the vice principal and can put some good words for him. Mash gets happy as it means he will accomplish his goal and starts obeying Lloyd's commands, carrying stuff for him, cleaning his shoes, giving him a massage, and many more. Next class, Mash finds another of his textbooks in a bad shape. He asks Finn if he can see his. Finn tries to tell him to find someone else, but Mash isn't listening and sits next to him. He then thanks him for lending him the broom and gives him some cream puffs, while also noting it's great to have a friend like him. Later, Lloyd spills some water on the floor and tells Mash to clean it. As Mash decides to do it, Lloyd leaves, telling his friends that he doesn't like the teacher and may ask the vice principal to fire her. A bit later, Lloyd states he is bored of textbooks and tells Finn that he wants to burn Mash's clothes next. Finn tells him he can't do this anymore. Lloyd gets annoyed and states that Finn made a mistake and he needs to drop down and beg for forgiveness. He then uses his magic on Finn. As Mash had taken Finn's textbook by accident, he goes around looking for him to give it back. He then finds Finn bleeding as Lloyd used his magic to force him to bow and hit his head on the floor. Mash wonders what he is doing and Lloyd explains that he is getting an apology. Mash then checks on Finn, but he states he is fine. Finn then cries as he confesses that he messed up his textbooks. He was ordered to do it, and was too scared to disobey. He feels the need to apologize to Mash as Mash kept calling him a great guy and a good friend. Lloyd states he should apologize like that to him too. He also notes that he is on his way to dine with the vice principal, and wonders if Mash wants to join him. Mash then walks to Lloyd and grabs his head and smashes him on the floor, stating he is the one that needs to apologize. Finn states that Mash will be expelled, however Mash wonders if that is a big deal. As he looks at the knocked out Lloyd, he realizes it actually may be a big deal, and he may have done something bad. Vice Principal Farman Kregos then shows up and confirms that Mash did something bad. Farman explains that Lloyd's father had entrusted his son to him, and he witnessed it all. Farman will hold a school conference regarding Mash and Finn's roles in this incident. Farman calls them idiots and explains that they have different social status, which means they have different treatment. Mash then runs and hits Farman in the face with his knee. He explains that Farman didn't seem open to reason, so he couldn't help it. And as he attacked one already, attacking a second wouldn't make much difference. Farman states he will expel him for the assault and tries using Lepio's Olga. However, Mash sticks dirt to his face. While Farman is confused from where the dirt came, Mash digs a hole and then picks up and puts Farman in it and starts burying him. Farman states he won't get away with this, but Mash interrupts him, noting that while he can expel him at any time, he can bury him at any time. Mash then proceeds to bury him, while Farman yells at him to stop. Later, Mash is summoned in front of Wahlberg Bygone, who states that Mash must know why he is here, and Mash guesses it's because he used the kitchen to make cream puffs without asking. Wahlberg explains it's because he punched Lloyd and buried Farman. As the Bureau of Magic sees this as a problem, they have sent Wahlberg a notice to expel Mash immediately. Wahlberg explains that the Bureau of Magic is the country's highest legal authority, and at the core of their organization are the Divine Visionaries. Wahlberg is also sure that Mash knows that Lloyd is the son of a high-ranking member of the Bureau, and that he had done something unforgivable. However, Wahlberg finds that a world where the caring are at a disadvantage is even more unforgivable, and burns Mash expel notice. Wahlberg is concerned about the current state of things in the world, which is why he took this position several years ago. There are a few people like Mash, who are willing to sacrifice themselves and act. He hopes that someone like Mash one day becomes a divine visionary, as their role is to carefully consider what the people desire. Mash states he is already aiming to become a divine visionary. Wahlberg explains that to chosen as a divine visionary, he must be the top student at this academy, and that requires gathering enough coins through schoolwork and activities. As Wahlberg continues to explain about the coins, he notices that Mash had passed out as he was overloaded with information. After Mash awakens, Wahlberg states he needs to collect coins, while he will handle the vice principal and the Bureau of Magic. As Mash leaves, Wahlberg notes to himself that Mash will have another problem he will eventually have to face. However, he have faith that Mash will overcome it. Mash didn't receive punishment, and for defeating Lloyd and Farman, he was acknowledged by the other students. Tom Knowles then approaches Mash and offers him to represent Adler Dorm in a duello match. Seeing Tom, girls gather around and are excited, noting that he is last year's duello MVP of the year. Mash wonders what is duello, and Tom explains it's a game where they use their brooms and it's the #1 sport in the magic realm. Mash tries to explain that he can ride a broom, but Tom refuses to listen and keeps insisting him to play with them, and that the game is tomorrow. As Mash is unable to decline, he realizes that Tom is even more dense than him. Next day, the game between Adler Dorm versus Lang Dorm starts. While the game is going on, the audience notices that Mash isn't flying. Mash again tries to explain that he can't ride a broom, but the audience starts booing him and throwing objects at him, thinking he is screwing around and doesn't even want to be there.